You never know what you're going to find when you go behind the big gates on some of these properties. This weekend in northwest Sydney, which is about 45 minutes out from the city in the suburb of Galston, we have a series of open gardens. That's where private homeowners are opening their gates for the general public to have a wander through and see what it's like to live out here and see their beautiful gardens. Now, it's not often that you get to wander through somebody else's backyard, but for this weekend, Greta and Graham, who own this property in northwest Sydney in Galston, are letting the general public have free rein to wander through and explore their beautiful gardens. Now, this is a really established property with big trees, feature trees, lovely winding paths. There's a dam down the bottom, there's a waterfall and ponds and irises everywhere. There's so many beautiful things to look at. Now, as I've gotten older, I've realised that if I was to plant a new tree now, I'm probably not going to be around to enjoy it when it gets to this big. And so that's that generational thing. So the previous owners have planted these trees, and I have a little bit of history with this because when I was a teenager, I worked for a little garden centre, Martin's Nursery in Greystanes in the western suburbs. And Jill, the owner, would drive me out here to the plant wholesalers, and we would drive past this exact property. And I remember her saying to me, "Oh, the man in that property is putting in all the gardens for his daughter to one day live here." Sadly, the daughter didn't end up living here for very long, and the new owners, Greta and Graham, moved in, and they've taken over custody of looking after these beautiful trees. But if it wasn't for that dad all those years ago, we wouldn't have this lovely oak like it is here. Graham was telling me about rebuilding this bridge, and the tricky job it was several of the workers, including himself, falling into the dam and then wondering what was going to be in the dam at their feet as well. But when you're on acreage, you need to have a lot of water because you've got a lot of gardens, and so he's got a great big water source down the bottom of his property here. Come and take a look at this hidden gem we've just found in the garden, tucked away. What a beautiful little spot. Now, when it rains, Graham tells me the water cascades down over that rock on the left, which would be magnificent. We've got a little pond here full of irises and white arum lilies. And then a lovely tree canopy of tree ferns and Japanese maples and another type of maple at the back there. And then we've got abelias, a bright yellow on the left-hand side here. But what a magical spot amongst this large acreage garden. Here's a rose that is suitable for your backyard. It doesn't have thorns, and it's called a Banksia rose, which makes it sound like it comes from Australia. It actually doesn't. It comes from China, but Sir Joseph Banks, actually his wife, I think, introduced it to the West, and so it's commonly known as the Banksia rose. It has no thorns, lovely yellow flowers. There's also a pink version of it. Goes well along fences or over a big pergola like this one here. Now, these are probably the biggest Japanese box balls that I think I've seen. They're huge. They're standing at close to 2 meters tall, whereas most of the time Japanese box is trimmed to a little hedge about this high. But don't these look fantastic? Now, Graham, being the typical gardener, says you should have been here 2 weeks ago when the wisteria was fully in flower. But I can imagine how beautiful it was, and the scent would have been wonderful. But look at the size of this stem. It looks like a python snake wrapped around this post. And I'm not even sure if the post is holding itself up anymore, whether the snake is doing all the work. So here's your chance to walk behind the gates of some of the most beautiful gardens that we have in Sydney. Head out to Galston, go to the Galston Club, and that's where you'll get your tickets. It doesn't cost too much, and then you'll get a map and be able to go around to these private gardens and just explore the day away. I always appreciate it when people give me an invite to their gardens because I know so much work has gone into creating it. It's not something that you can do overnight. It takes years and years of patience, trial and error to create something as beautiful as this.